Hi guys, Lee here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it is your first time here. Today we'll be doing a nice full body beginner's flow, getting into the hips, shoulders, side body, back body, and everything in between. You might notice that the audio is a little off from the video because I realized my mic cut off 15 minutes into filming, but either way I did a voiceover for you and it shouldn't be too distracting, so I hope you enjoy it. Let's get right to it. Let's start in a wide child's pose. So wherever you're at, find your way to the back of your mat, and we'll come down, bringing the knees as wide as the mat, and then we'll stretch the upper body forward, elongating through the sides of the body, walking the fingertips out as far as it can reach. We'll rest the forehead down. Taking this moment of grounding to connect with the breath. We breathe in and out through the nose. With each breath, allowing the body to become heavier. Sinking your hips deeper towards your heels. Maybe closing the eyes. And see if you can walk your fingers out a little further. And with the strength of your palms, press those hips back and down. All right, let's relax those arms. Take a thread the needle in this child's pose. We're simply going to slide that left arm underneath the right, turning the head so the left temple is on the ground, and then we'll reach that right hand up towards the sky. Keeping your palm facing to the side. You can hold here or maybe start to pulse that arm back, opening up your shoulder a little deeper. Again, connecting every movement to your breath. We'll simply come back to center, sliding that right arm under, and we'll switch it out. Right temple to the ground as your left hand reaches high. And I like to be nice and warm when I start off my practice. So sometimes when it's really cold, I'll put a sweater on. Then as my body starts to warm up, as my Ujjayi breath starts to bring heat into my body, I'll take it off, maybe put it back on during Shavasana. Make yourself as comfortable as you need to be. We'll take those pulses here. Now let's stretch back, forward. We'll bring that left hand down. Allow the right hand to follow. Forehead to the ground just for a moment. Deep breath. Moving slowly, start to walk your hands back towards the knees as your spine rolls up slowly. Slowly stacking over the shoulders. Let's bring those knees together. We'll take a toe stretch. Take the soft now so you can see me a little better. Slide that over there. And this might feel quite intense if you're used to wearing closed shoes or heels all the time. So move slowly through it. If you feel uncomfortable, come out. We won't be staying too long, but just a little heads up that it might be an intense sensation in your body. So we're gonna tuck the toes in and sit back up on the heels. So I'm getting some nice length here through the back body. We'll take some neck stretches just to distract that sensation, gazing over that right shoulder, sitting up nice and tall. And gaze over the left. Do that one more time. You should start feeling some opening of the arch on your feet, some opening of the toes. Gaze over to the left. And we'll shake it out. And bring the hands forward in front of you, tabletop. Untuck the toes, point them back, and let's tap it out. We'll sit back one more time. This time, we're keeping the toes pointed back, and we'll take an ankle stretch. So sit back on the heels. Let me move forward a little so you can see me. We're gonna bring the hands behind the hips, and then the weight is gonna be on the ankles. So we wanna start to lean back just as much as we can, as much as you need. So kind of gauge out how that feels. And if it's not as intense for you, you can lift your knees up off the ground a little higher. You can go as high as you want here. Keep the breath flowing. If you want to take it a little deeper, you can even release your hands from the mat, bring them over onto your knees, and play with a little bit of balance. If the hands are on the knees, bring them back down, and we'll slowly lower all the way. Coming into tabletop, bring those hands forwards, tap the feet out. And we'll take that toe stretch one last time. Tuck those toes in, sit back up on the heels. And this time, we're gonna wrap the arms behind, trying to connect opposite elbows here. And we'll reach the chest forward, heart pulls through, gaze goes high. Find a slight arch in the spine. Maybe drop the head back. Take a few breaths out through the mouth. Let it all go. Surrender to anything that's maybe holding you back. It's causing stress. Tilt that head forward. Release into a tabletop. Tap it out. Awesome. Now let's extend the legs back and slide all the way down onto the belly. Palms are facing down underneath the shoulder, forehead to the ground. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Activate through the legs, engage every muscle in your body. Inhale, chest and forehead comes off the ground, baby cobra, gaze forward. Exhale, wave your body down. Inhale, wave off the ground, gaze forward. Exhale, lower. Now let's walk those hands a little bit out and diagonal, so kind of towards the corners of your mat. Palms down or up on the fingertips, kind of in a TP shape.
Engage those shoulder blades. Inhale, roll up. You can straighten your elbows a little more. Gaze a little higher. Exhale. Wave down. One more here. Inhale. Rise up. Exhale. Lower down. Let's take that palm stance a little wider. To the side and diagonal. Same deal here on the palms or up on those fingertips. Squeeze the shoulder blades. 2 more. Maybe this time straightening the elbows all the way. We'll rise up. Lower down. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Release the arms beside your body, fingertips facing the back of the mat. Relax through your legs. Let's turn the head to come onto one of the temples and then just simply sway the entire body side to side. Sphinx pose. Come up onto the forearms this time. Elbows underneath those shoulders. Just check in really quick. Make space throughout the fingertips. Draw the elbows back towards your upper ribs as you lift the heart. Keep that gaze forward. And this is an active Sphinx pose, so engage all the muscles in your legs. Point those toes back. This helps us strengthen the lower back. Strengthen through the shoulders. One more breath. Exhale. Lower the forehead to the ground. Bring those hands, slide them back underneath the shoulders. Tuck those toes in. We're going to press back to a down dog, but first I'll give you the option. If you want to flow through a plank, start to press your body up straight in one line. If not, just bend those knees and take those hips high to your down dog. And find some movement through your down dog. Walk your dog out. Bend one knee at a time. Find slight movement in the hips. Start deepening your breath, equalizing it out. For each 3 seconds of inhale, take those 3 seconds of exhale. Maybe 4, maybe 5. We'll find stillness in this down dog, stabilizing the legs. Gazes back towards the knees or the belly button. And bring the gaze forward towards your hands. Start to roll your body into a plank. Lower the knees and find your way all the way down. One more time. Right temple to the ground. We'll extend that right arm beside you. Bend the left knee so the toes are facing towards the ceiling. And then we're going to roll over that right shoulder, taking the shoulder stretch. If you ever have a tight back, a tight shoulder blades, this feels so, so good. That left hand can stay grounded, or it can start to wrap behind the lower back into a half bind. Allow the next breath to roll you out, and right away start extending the left arm. Switch gazes, left temple to the ground, right hand tucks in, bend the right knee, and roll over the left shoulder this time.
So my mic decided to cut off at this point, but I'll be doing a voiceover so you can still enjoy this flow. We'll be staying in this shoulder roll for about 2 more deep breaths. Option to take that bind, bringing the hand behind the low back. Breathing into any tightness, releasing tension through the breath. Start to slowly unwind, releasing your hand, bringing both hands underneath the shoulders, forehead to the ground. Now let's lift the hips off the ground with the strength of our palms and start to press back towards a wide-legged child's pose. Knees come out wide, arms nice and long. And child's pose is a great pose to check in with the breath. Check in, notice if it's audible enough so that you can hear it in this space. Lift off the ground and walk the palms back towards the knees one more time. We'll bring the knees together as we roll up, stacking over the hips. Let's come up to sitting on the knees. We'll be taking Camel Pose Ustrasana. And if you have sensitive knees here, you can either bring a thick blanket underneath for some support, or if you don't have that available to you in hand's reach, you can roll up your mat, kind of create a double layer for your knees and have that as some support. But if this is okay for you, we'll stay on the knees and we'll have the option either pointing the toes back or tucking them in for a little bit more height when we reach back. So we'll take our pick here. I'll be having my toes tucked in. We'll take some side body stretches, releasing the left fingertips down towards the ground, reaching that right arm up and over, and either resting it on the side of your quad, side of your leg, or allowing the fingertips to reach the ground. Let's lift up using your core power. Right fingertips come down as that left hand reaches over to the side. Reach over to the left. And one more time, reaching over to the right, warming up the spine. Coming into our pose here, we'll have 2 chances to come into this. So we'll start up building it slowly, going step by step, and then maybe coming into the full expression later. So bring your toes however you prefer, pointed back or tucked in. And as we start to lift through the heart, we want to keep in mind that pelvis drawing forward, like if a string is pulling you forward. So to start off, let's bring the palms towards the lower back. Fingertips are going to face down and pinch the shoulder blades and elbows towards one another. Beautiful. Start pressing the pelvis forward as you lift your heart up, either keeping that gaze forward or slowly following the gaze up towards the ceiling, maybe dropping the neck back. Breathing here, maybe breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth for one breath. We'll start to lower the hips down towards the heels, point the toes back, untuck them, give your back a little break.
Awesome. Let's shake that out. We'll do that one more time, either taking that same variation you just took, or this time, coming onto the knees, we'll take it a little deeper. So take those hands to the low back like we did last time. Pelvis draws forward like a string, neck goes back. If you want to take it a step further, bring one hand towards your ankle. Maybe we stay here, maybe the other hand follows to the other ankle, taking your full expression of Ustrasana, pulling forward, slight arch in the spine. Big breath in through the nose. Big breath out through the mouth. One more just like that. Big breath in. Exhale, release, let it all go. Point the toes back. Support your low back with your palms and start to sit back all the way on the heels. Close the eyes for a moment. Let your palms rest on the knees. Allow them to face the ceiling, open to receiving. Slowly blink the eyes open, set the hands down in front of you in a quick tabletop position. Moving into our pigeon pose, draw that right knee towards your right wrist, and that left leg is going to slide back. So a good way to kind of gauge your pigeon pose here is to decide where you want your heel. The closer that right heel is towards your pelvis, the easier it's going to be. So it's going to be a lighter stretch. The further away you move that heel from your body, the deeper the stretch is going to feel. So let's say I move my heel into a 90-degree angle. That's the deepest I'm going to go. So kind of gauge it out. See how these different angles feel for you. Choose the one that feels most comfortable, and always stack the hips over in the center of the mat. We don't want the hips falling over to one side. So we'll stack the body facing nice and long towards the mat. Big breath in as you elongate the spine. And as you exhale, start to walk the hands out, maybe lowering onto the forearms and slowly working your way flat on the mat. Maybe fingertips stretch out in front of you. Embrace the stretch in the hips, maybe towards that left quad. If you're sore, this should feel really good. This is one of my favorite poses to do, either right before working out or after. Sort of a cool down pose. Allow yourself one last breath here, coming back into the body. We'll start to walk the hands back towards the knees, lifting your torso up and moving slowly and gently. Just step that right foot back to meet your left into your tabletop. Let's sway the hips side to side.
Let's move on to the other side. Left knee glides forward towards the left wrist. Slide your right leg back. We'll stack those hips in the center of the mat. Big breath in to elongate. Big breath out to stretch forward. Again, moving slowly, working in levels. Either staying up on the hands if that's what you need today, lowering down to the forearms, or maybe stretching the fingertips all the way out. Take one last deep breath. And with that next inhale, slowly start to rise up, walking the hands back in and stepping the foot back into your tabletop. Again, we'll sway the hips side to side. Walk the hands back as your hips sit back onto the heels. Coming into a hero's pose. Again, this pose might be really sensitive for your knees. So that's why I mentioned in the beginning, if you do have blocks, a blanket, or a thick pillow, keep it around if you know that you might need that support. But we'll have about 3 different levels here. So we're going to start off sitting up on the knees, and we want the feet to face outwards towards the sides of the mat. So our feet stance is going to be nice and wide. And we want to get that fleshy part of our calves and kind of turn them outwards. So when we sit our hips back, there's space. We want those heels as close as they can come in towards the hips. So this will kind of be your level 3, or if you don't need any props, we'll stay right here. If you do need props, we're going to lift up off of the heels, and you can grab your block, blanket, or pillow and bring it underneath the pelvis so you can sit up on it. And if you have 2 blocks, you can even use 2 blocks. If you have 3, use 3. We can build up the levels here and kind of make it a little more comfortable as you want, really. So I'll be doing a level 3, no blocks for me. Move those off to the side, sitting my hips down on the ground. We'll also have a few different options for the hands. We can either stay sitting upright, level 1, lower down onto your forearms for a level 2, or lower all the way down onto your spine for a level 3. So I'll be lowering all the way down. That's just what personally feels more comfortable in my body. And if you're down with me, you can rest your hands either by your heels or bring them up overhead. Maybe reaching for opposite elbows here, getting a nice heart opener, nice shoulder opener. Wherever you're at, try to relax into the pose, becoming heavier by your sacrum with each breath. Allowing yourself to ground down. Allow yourself the space for your intention, space for healing, space for moving forward. Last breath. As we slowly start to come out of this pose, if you're in level 3, reaching opposite elbows, release them down beside your body. Let's press up onto the forearms all the way until we lift up onto the hands. Bring the palms down in front of you, coming back into your tabletop position just for a quick second. Let's sway the heels side to side, bringing movement back into those hips. And then we'll simply sit off to the side. And I'll be facing the camera, but you can stay exactly where you're at if you have some space. We'll be coming into a straddle pose. So bring your legs as wide as they can go. Kind of bring yourself up and draw your pelvis forward as much as you can. Just shake those knees out, up and down. We'll come to stillness, flexing the feet and slightly pointing the toes back towards the wall that I'm at. So for you, whichever wall that you're at, kind of tilt the toes back. And then we'll walk the hands out in front. Resting either on a block on the forearms or again, reaching as far as you can go. Maybe collapsing on the ground, belly to the mat. We won't be here for too long, so challenge yourself to go as deep as you can go. Slowly lift up through your gaze, walk the hands back. And let's just slide those legs together. Arms out in front of you. Using the strength of your core, start to roll your body down vertebrae by vertebrae until you reach the ground. Knees hug into the chest. Give yourself a tight hug. Ground your entire spine along the mat. Maybe make small circular movements with the knees, massaging your lower back. To relax those arms beside the body, set the feet flat on the ground, and we want to keep those knees hip distance apart. As you press through the hands, use the strength of your legs to lift your hips off of the ground. And kind of keeping in mind that we want those knees parallel to our heels. We don't want them to kind of flare outwards. We want to keep them in one straight line. On the exhale, start to lower down. Inhale, press up, even higher this time. And picture your tailbone kind of drawing in, kind of coming towards your belly to lift yourself a little higher. Exhale, lower down. Let's cross that left leg over the right. Both knees are bent. Right hand is going to support over those knees, and let's drop them towards the left side. The left hand is going to open up the chest. Eagle twist. Slowly move back to center, crossing the right leg over the left this time. Left hand is going to support those knees as that right hand opens up the shoulder. Keeping the gaze towards the ceiling or gaze towards that open shoulder. Starting to melt down. Slowly coming back to your natural breath, releasing any control you might be holding on to mentally or physically. Relax all your muscles. We'll come back to center, uncrossing the knees. Bring them into the chest one last time. Last hug of the practice. Slowly working your way towards your Shavasana. We'll extend the legs long, taking up space, letting the heels point outwards, arms beside your body. Slightly bring the chin towards the chest, creating a neutral spine. Close the eyes. Allow yourself to soak in your practice, to soak in what your body just experienced, the clarity of your mind, of your thoughts. Allow yourself to be open so you can receive everything you've been asking for. Start to find your way back into your body as you bring minimal movements back, maybe wiggling the toes and the fingertips, making circles with the wrists and the ankles. Step the legs together and take your arms up overhead, creating a slight arch in your spine, lifting your low back off the ground. Step the feet in, rolling over to the right side. And then with the help of your hands, press yourself up to a comfortable seated position, keeping the eyes gently closed. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you were able to relax, to maybe gain some clarity and some questions you might have had. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, like and comment on this video. Leave any feedback that you might like. I'm always open to receiving. Thank you so much for supporting me, and I will continue to support your yoga journey, posting videos every week. Namaste. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and night wherever you're at.